the Yema Superman Slim CMM.20. This is our review. Let's talk about it. But first, I'm not a watch expert, I'm just a watch nerd. So if I get anything massively wrong in this video, or you just want to have an argue with me in the comments, pop down below. Whilst you're down there, why not like, subscribe, ding that bell icon so you never miss another video, and why not have a little play with that join button, see where it gets you. So Yema got in contact with us probably about a month ago now and was like, hello, we make watches, would you like to talk about them, review them? And we went, yes please, we yappity would. And up to that point, essentially my only interaction with Yema at all was in our micro brand tier list. And if you've seen the micro brand tier list, there was five tiers, and I put Yema in meh, and that was the middle tier. None of their watches sing to me, but they just feel cool, really cool. I don't find their watches offensive at all. They are cool. I like them, none of them give me a reason to love them. Very well priced. So for that reason, I'm gonna put you again, very top tier meh. And that was purely, I'll be honest, that was purely off viewing their website and just looking at what they make. So a couple weeks later, to be honest, I saw that they were releasing an in-house micro-rotor movement, and that piqued my interest. So when they offered me and us a watch for review, I went, yes please, I'd like to review a micro-rotor movement. And if you've been eagle-eyed watching some of our videos recently, you would have seen that's exactly what I've had on my wrist for a little while. So what are my thoughts? Well, before I go into my thoughts, I just want to explain a little bit about Yema as a brand, because a lot of people might just think they're a micro brand, but I think they've got a little bit more to offer than that. So, transition. Yema, who are they? They were founded 1948 in the Besançon region of France, which was historically France's capital of watchmaking. Over the next 2 decades, essentially Yema became the greatest, largest French watch exporter of its time. So when lots of companies try to fabricate a rich, diverse history, Yema genuinely has one. So that's why I don't consider them a true micro brand, because they're not a startup. They've been chugging away in the background for some time. At their height, pre-quartz crisis, they were actually making and exporting 400,000 watches a year, which is fairly incredible. Did you know that, Terry?
No idea.
But like many brands, Yema was subject to a big decline during the quartz crisis. So its first change of ownership came in 1982 with the sale to the industrial group Matra. A little bit about Matra. The head of Matra, or the head of their watch division, was none other than one Richard Mille. You may be familiar with that name because he founded his own watch company. So in 1987, however, whilst Mille was still at Matra, the watch division was absorbed by the Seiko group as Compagnie Générale Horologie, and what became of Richard Mille later on is widely known. So things chugged along for 17 years, and then in 2004, the then CEO of CGH took over Yema from the Seiko group, and Yema was once again a French brand. Fast forward a little bit more to 2009, and Yema changed ownership for the last time to who owns them today, of the Montreal-based Groupe Ombre. And then fast forward again to 2011, and it brings you to Yema's first in-house Calibus. Transition. So let's talk about the watch in a bit more detail. First of all, it's a 300-meter dive watch. That's excellent. And it's a 300-meter dive watch that is, if we're measuring it, 12 millimeters thick, which is fairly excellent. It's got a beautiful domed sapphire crystal, no complaints there. Lovely ceramic bezel with a little vintage touch, that is the bezel lock, but I have some thoughts about that in a little while. And you'll notice as well, the bracelet is very unique. It is a scale bracelet, and I also have some thoughts about that. It's got a nice diver extension. It's very nicely loomed as well, and the piece de resistance, I think the main big selling point about this entire watch is the in-house, the CM.20 micro-rotor movement. And this movement, I have to say, is the highlight of the entire watch. I want to talk about this before we get on to anything that's even slightly negative about this watch, because there's a couple things. It's not perfect. I really like it. It's got a lot of positives, but there's also some things that do need ironing out. So first of all, it is a French manufacturer caliber, which is amazing. Yema have come a long way since the quartz crisis. So the fact that they are making now an in-house micro-rotor movement is magnifique, is very good, you like. The movement is just 3.7 millimeters thick, which is mental. It features a 70-hour power reserve, which, again, is amazing. Nothing to complain about there. And it is COSC-like accuracy. So COSC is obviously -4 + 6 for a total deviation range of 10 seconds. This is rated, they rate it for -3 + 7. A bit random. So it's COSC-like accuracy with a total deviation range of 10 seconds. Nothing to complain about there. So all in all, looking very good at the moment. So first of all, if we're talking about anything that's at all negative about this watch, I first want to mention the fact this is not a finished sample. So I don't have a truly representative experience. The only thing that is fully finished and working and great is the movement, which again, got no complaints about. It's a stunning movement, it's brilliant. It looks fabulously finished as well. The bracelet is a great design. I've had so many people mention the bracelet and how great it looks, how lovely it looks. But I do have some points. And again, I want to reiterate, this is a review sample. So it's not completely finished, but there's a couple things I think will be present on the finished watches that I do need to mention. First of all, it's the lug length. Now, obviously, you get a substantial bend, but there's not a whole lot of flex. So you'd like to have the ability to have an instant drop off on your bracelet if needs be. But from, we'll say, the zenith of the bracelet, like the minimum length from lug to lug is, and it's gonna be chunky. What do you reckon it is, Terry? The minimum length from there to there.
45 millimeters?
45. The most bend, if you bend it all the way, this length right here is 58.4 millimeters, around that. So it's long. I mean, it's got a longer lug to lug than my 45 millimeter Breitling Avenger Seawolf, and this is a 40 millimeter watch, remember, so it's gonna wear large. It's not an issue that's only present in Yema. A lot of the reviews of the Tissot PRX, the very first lug has 0 flex, so the fact these have any flex at all is great, but it's long. It's not gonna fit smaller wrists, and that's problematic. It fits mine great, but it's something I wanna highlight. Also, if you're having a look at the bracelet, between the start of the bracelet and the lugs, if you get that sort of maximum flex, there's quite a large gap in the links. It's quite a large gap. It looks like a panel gap in a car, and it's been highlighted by a couple people when I went to Red Bar, so I wanted to mention that as well. Don't know how it'll be rectified, but it's a bit off-putting. I guess other than that, regarding the build and everything of the watch, my only real issue is it's just quite sharp. Terry's been ripping the poo out of me for this, but the clasp, I don't have any nails because I'm a chronic nail biter if you don't know me. I don't have any nails, so undoing the clasp when we first got sent it is quite tricky, and my fingers actually got quite sore from...
Bruised your fingers.
They didn't bruise. Shush. But my fingers got quite sore for a couple days from trying to undo the clasp, and it's gotten easier as it's gotten a bit looser, but it still made my fingers sore. And again, at the crown lock, and it's got very severe crown guards. They're all feel slightly sharp. And again, the crown as well. So trying to undo the crown to change the time can be a little uncomfortable, to be honest. And going back to the dial, I think the dial looks really, really nice. The colour on this blue is lovely. It's a bit muted, yet quite bright, so it's really nice. And the loom's spectacular. I think the hands are really nicely designed. I have no complaints about the dial, except Yema have just released a limited edition, limited to 500. And I thought I really liked the simplicity of the dial of this watch, because the hour markers aren't rimmed in metal or anything. The seconds hand is just a simple stick of loom, essentially. And I was like, you know what? That's a design decision, and I can respect it that they're leaning on their vintage heritage. But they've just released the Skin Diver Slim CMM.20 limited edition, which is £190 less expensive, with a steel lollipop seconds hand, a really nice sort of, would you describe it as Art Deco font in the 12, 3, 6 and 9, and a completely different style of the indexes that are metal rimmed, so it's just more interesting to look at. It looks like a higher finished, more interesting to look at watch. So I had no issues with the design of this dial until they released that limited edition for £190 less, and now I feel like this was sort of underdone sort of on purpose to make the limited edition more exciting. What is the price of this watch? I have to say, for the build quality, for the interestingness of the design, and particularly this really nicely made in-house micro-rotor movement, I think this is a great price. I really, really do, despite my foibles. And what price is it? It's £1,889. That limited edition I mentioned is £1,699, limited to 500 pieces. But again, I think this is a great product, especially since this is essentially a press prototype that's not 100% finished, because they haven't shipped them. I really do think it's great, and I really do think it represents pretty great value for money with an in-house micro-rotor movement and sapphire crystal and so many things that you're not going to find elsewhere. But I'd be lying to you guys if I said it was perfect. I want to be honest. I want to give you a full comprehensive review, and that's what I've done. Yema, I know you're watching this. This is made with love. I think it's a great watch. Just needs some fine tuning, and you are so close. Take some design cues from your limited edition, and this is gonna be a lot better, okay? We know you can do it because you've done it in the limited edition. What do you think, Terry?
Not quite so positive as you. I think when I first saw it, I said to you, the dial there was something about it that I wasn't keen on. It was a bit bland. The seconds hand, it looks much better on the limited. The limited edition is the watch that I want more.
It's the watch that you want this to be.
Exactly.
Same.
But I like the bracelet.
Yeah, bracelet's really cool. Just wish it didn't have that gap. And I think the length of the lugs, you just can't get away from if you're doing this sort of design, maybe. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Whilst you're down there, why not like, subscribe, ding that bell icon so you never miss another video, and why not click that join button? Be very, very much appreciated. And whilst we're on the subject of the join button, thank you very, very much to our channel members on screen now. You guys are perfect, beautiful human beings. And to everyone else, you know what I'm gonna say, watch yourselves.